something feels off. Not wrong enough to leave. Not wrong enough to confront. Not wrong enough to justify making a scene. Just wrong enough to make you question yourself. Wrong enough that you've started keeping a mental list of things you should probably mention but never do. Wrong enough that you catch yourself editing your thoughts before they become words. Sometimes the corrosive torment of doubting a partner's fidelity is made worse by the cruel practice of gaslighting. For months, Ruby was asking JP if something was up, and he kept telling her she was crazy, jealous, paranoid. She was almost at the point where she believed him, were it not for the day he left his phone at home. In hindsight, his vociferous denial should have been proof enough. Now she feels doubly betrayed. He made her doubt not just him, but her own sanity. That's the first sign. The doubt. But not about them. About you. Your memory. Your perception. Your emotional stability. Your right to feel what you feel.
Manipulation is the systematic erosion of your reality until only theirs remains. It's not about control. It's about replacement. We think of manipulation as something dramatic, a villain twirling a mustache, a con artist with an elaborate scheme, a politician spinning lies on television.
But real manipulation is quieter. It's domestic. It's intimate. It's the person who sleeps beside you every night, who knows exactly which words will make you doubt yourself, who has learned over time precisely how much pressure to apply. It's the partner who says you're too sensitive when you express hurt. The friend who makes you feel guilty for setting boundaries. The family member who weaponizes silence, withdrawing affection until you apologize for something you didn't do. The colleague who takes credit for your work while positioning themselves as your mentor. 73% people who experience gaslighting report questioning their own memory and sanity within the first year of the relationship. The word comes from the 1938 play Gaslight, where a husband slowly dims the gas lamps in their home, then insists his wife is imagining it. He's not just lying. He's making her doubt her own perception of reality. He's replacing her truth with his. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing. The last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Viktor Frankl wrote those words in a concentration camp. He understood that the ultimate oppression isn't physical restraint. It's the theft of your inner certainty. When you can no longer trust your own mind, you become dependent on the very person who's harming you. But what happens when you're no longer sure what circumstances you're actually in? When the person who's supposed to be your safe harbor is the one creating the storm? Consider Maria. She came to therapy saying she couldn't remember things anymore. Names, dates, conversations. She'd find items in her house and not recall buying them. Her husband assured her she was just stressed. But the truth was simpler and more terrifying. He'd been moving her things, hiding her keys, telling her she'd agreed to plans she never made. Each small denial chipped away at her confidence until she stopped trusting herself entirely. She started recording conversations on her phone just to prove to herself that she wasn't imagining things. And she wasn't. The recordings confirmed everything. But by then, she'd already spent months believing she was losing her mind. Sarah stopped counting after the 17th apology that week. Sorry for being late, even though she'd waited 20 minutes in the car. Sorry for misunderstanding what he meant, even though his words were clear. Sorry for feeling hurt by his joke, even though jokes shouldn't require apologies. Sorry for existing too loudly at the party. Sorry for being too quiet at dinner. Sorry for needing reassurance. Sorry for not needing it enough. When you apologize for having needs, you've already been manipulated. The apology isn't about wrongdoing. It's about training. This is the first silent sign.
You find yourself saying, "I'm sorry" for things that aren't your fault. For having emotions, for needing clarity, for taking up space, for existing in ways that don't perfectly accommodate someone else's comfort.
The manipulator has trained you to believe that your natural responses are problems to be solved. Your hurt is oversensitivity. Your confusion is dramatic. Your need for honesty is controlling. Your desire for quality time is clingy. Your request for transparency is distrustful. Your relationship needs are valid, period. Though people with different attachment styles may not see your concerns as legitimate, they're essential for your happiness. And expressing them authentically is crucial to effective communication. This point is especially important if you have an anxious attachment style, because our culture encourages you to minimize your needs rather than honor them. But here's what they don't want you to know. Needing reassurance doesn't make you broken. Wanting transparency doesn't make you paranoid. Protecting your peace doesn't make you selfish. Requiring respect doesn't make you difficult. 64%. People in manipulative relationships apologize more than 5 times per day for things that aren't their responsibility. The apology becomes a reflex. You say it before they can criticize. You say it to keep the peace. You say it because somewhere along the way you internalize the belief that your existence requires constant justification. But you don't need to apologize for taking up space. You don't need to apologize for having feelings. You don't need to apologize for expecting basic respect. The most successful manipulation doesn't feel like control. It feels like becoming a better version of yourself. That's the trap. Mark looked at old photos and didn't recognize the person staring back. That confident laugh. Those easy friendships. The way he used to have opinions without checking if they were acceptable first. The hobbies he abandoned because they took time away from the relationship. The friends he drifted from because they didn't understand. The clothes he stopped wearing because of one offhand comment. The music he stopped listening to. The places he stopped going. The person he stopped being. This is the second sign. The slow disappearance of yourself. It starts small. So small, you barely notice. You stop wearing that shirt because they made a joke about it once. You quit the hobby because they said it was childish or a waste of time. You drift from friends because they don't understand our relationship or never liked me anyway. You stop expressing opinions that might cause disagreement. You learn which topics are safe and which ones aren't. 68% victims of emotional manipulation report losing touch with their pre-relationship identity within 2 years. The manipulator never says change. They say, "I just want what's best for you." They say, "I'm helping you grow." They say, "This is what love looks like." They say, "I'm the only one who really knows you. I thought how unpleasant it is to be locked out. And I thought how it is worse, perhaps, to be locked in." Virginia Woolf understood that the most effective prison has no bars. You can walk out anytime. But you've forgotten where the door is. You've forgotten that you ever had reasons to leave. But you're not growing. You're shrinking. And the worst part, you thank them for it. You believe you're becoming better, more mature, more reasonable, more loving. When really, you're just becoming smaller, quieter, easier to manage. Think about the last time you did something just for yourself. Not something that benefited the relationship, not something they approved of. Just something that made you happy, that felt like you. How long has it been? What does that tell you?
When was the last time you made a decision without wondering how they'd react? When was the last time you expressed an opinion without first checking if it would cause conflict? When was the last time you felt truly free to be yourself without monitoring, without editing, without that constant background hum of anxiety? Walking on eggshells burns more calories than running a marathon. Your body is in survival mode, even when you're sitting still.
Elena used to wonder why she was always tired. She slept 8 hours. She ate well. She exercised. She didn't understand why her body felt like it was carrying weights that no one else could see. She'd wake up exhausted. She'd drag herself through work.
She'd come home and collapse on the couch, too drained to do anything but scroll mindlessly through her phone. Then she realized she was carrying weights, the weight of constant vigilance, the weight of never knowing which version of them would walk through the door.
The weight of monitoring every word, every tone, every expression. The weight of being responsible for someone else's emotions while neglecting her own.
This is the third sign, the exhaustion that sleep can't fix. Your nervous system is in permanent fight or flight. Every text requires analysis. What did they mean by that period instead of an exclamation point? Why didn't they respond yet? Are they angry? Every tone shift demands interpretation. Was that sarcasm? Disappointment? Contempt? Every silence needs decoding. Are they giving me space? Are they punishing me? Are they planning to leave? You're not living. You're managing. You're monitoring. You're surviving. 81% people in manipulative relationships report chronic fatigue and stress-related health issues, including headaches, digestive problems, and weakened immune function. When our partner is unable to meet our basic attachment needs, we experience a chronic sense of disquiet and tension that leaves us more exposed to various ailments. Not only is our emotional well-being sacrificed when we are in a romantic partnership with someone who doesn't provide a secure base, but so is our physical health. Your body knows what your mind is still denying. You're not safe. You're not home. You're a hostage who's forgotten they're being held. There's a particular kind of tired that comes from loving someone who makes you feel alone. It settles in your bones. It colors your thoughts. It makes everything feel heavier. You look at your friends who seem to have energy for their lives, for their passions, for their dreams, and you wonder what's wrong with you. Why can't you keep up? Why does everything feel like such an effort? The answer isn't that you're broken.
The answer is that you're carrying a burden that was never yours to carry. You're carrying their moods, their insecurities, their need to control, their fear of abandonment, their unhealed wounds.
And you're carrying them silently, because acknowledging the weight would mean acknowledging that the person you love is the one who placed it there. The moment you recognize manipulation is the moment it loses its power. Recognition is the first act of reclamation. You can't fight what you won't name. You can't heal what you won't acknowledge. You can't leave what you refuse to see. There's a door, it's been there all along. You just forgot you could open it. You forgot you had hands that could turn the handle. You forgot that doors are meant to be opened, not just stared at. Here's what the manipulator fears most: your clarity, your certainty, your willingness to trust yourself again. They don't fear your anger. Anger can be dismissed as drama. They don't fear your tears. Tears can be weaponized as proof of your instability. They fear your quiet certainty. The moment you stop arguing and start knowing, recovery doesn't begin when they change. It begins when you stop waiting for them to. It begins when you choose yourself. Start small. Write down what happened before they tell you what happened. Keep a journal. Not for them. For you. Name your feelings before they name them for you. I feel hurt. I feel confused. I I feel dismissed. Reach out to the friend you were told was toxic. Send the text, make the call, wear the shirt.
Listen to the song. Go to the place. We all experience some fear when we have disagreements or arguments with our partners. But for those of us with secure bonds, it is a momentary blip.
The fear is quickly and easily tamped down as we realize that there is no real threat or that our partner will reassure us if we ask. For those of us with weaker or fraying bonds, however, the fear can be overwhelming. That's the difference. In healthy relationships, conflict is temporary.
Discomfort passes. You can ask for reassurance and receive it. You can express hurt and be heard. You can disagree and still be loved. 92% people who leave manipulative relationships report feeling like themselves again within 18 months. That's what real love feels like. Not constant analysis. Not walking on eggshells. Not exhaustion. Safety. Certainty. Home. The freedom to be yourself without apology. The knowledge that your needs matter. The certainty that your reality is valid. If you recognized yourself today, don't scroll past this feeling. Don't minimize it. Don't tell yourself you're overreacting. Screenshot it. Save it. Come back to it when the doubt creeps in. Share it with someone you trust. Say the words out loud. I think I'm being manipulated. Say it until it stops feeling impossible. You're not crazy. You're not too sensitive. You're not broken. You're waking up. And the world needs the version of you that exists on the other side of this realization. The version that remembers who they were before someone taught them to be smaller. The version that knows their worth. The version that trusts themselves again. That version is still there, waiting, ready. And they are worth fighting for. The quiet violence ends not with a scream, but with a whisper. Your whisper. The one that says, I choose me. I trust myself. I am enough. I am real. And I am free. And freedom once tasted cannot be forgotten.